Hi everyone, welcome into this week's My Weekly CBS Fix. I hope you're having a wonderful week. I'm a little under the weather, but I can assure you I'm not contagious from wherever you're sitting. Don't worry. This week's video is dedicated once again as a refuah shlema for Nechama Bas Chaya Rivka and a dedication to my brother Levi. Mazel tov to you on the birth of Basia Esther Rivka. May you and your wife go from one simcha to the next. In this week's parsha, as Haftaras Vayechi, Yaakov Avinu, Jacob, our forefather, is blessing all his sons. The point of the blessing is to bring out from inside of them all their talents and gifts and everything that they can accomplish, and together they would form a cohesive unit as the Jewish people. And in this week's Haftorah, we read from the book of Kings, and King David is charging Shlomo HaMelech, King Solomon, as being the future king with different things that he has to know before he becomes king and before King David passes away. So he tells them like this. The verse says in chapter 2, it says, V'shemartis mismer Hashem lekecha. You should watch over the Torah of Hashem your God. And he delineates by stating, L'leches b'drachav, to go in Hashem's ways. Now what does this mean, to go in Hashem's ways? In a very simple fashion, it means, the commentators explain, the same way Hashem is merciful, we should be merciful. The same way Hashem is kind, we should be kind. Go in Hashem's ways. However Hashem conducts himself, we should conduct himself, which means that there's simple, basic human intellect and logic about how a person should conduct themselves in their life, even if you did not have a Torah. And we've spoken about this in the past. And King David quickly interjects after that, and he says, Lishmar chukosav, however, to watch over Hashem's statutes as well. And as we've mentioned, the statutes are not necessarily something that's logical, and sometimes they're not logical at all. But King David's telling Solomon, that is the way to be a true leader. The way to be a true Jewish leader is you have to follow Hashem's ways using understanding, simple understanding that the Torah would not tell you, but at the same time, don't think that you're above Hashem's Torah and that you're smarter than him, but follow the statutes. You have to follow all the laws, even that don't make sense. And then he tells them, Umishpatav, Veidosav, you also have to watch all the mishpatim. Now, mishpatim, the judgments, those are laws that are between man and man, like having a court system, giving people punishment, putting people to death. Veidosav, and also the different testimonies, whether Shabbos or the different holidays that we keep, all these things are testimonies that there is Hashem, and that is part and parcel of how a Jewish king must act, how everybody must act. Now, King David then tells him, being that is the case, there's some unfinished business that I need you to take care of for me. Who, how, what happened? So there was two people that he told King Solomon that after he becomes king, he must put them to death. Who was that? That was Yoav, who was a general of his, and it was also Shimi ben Gera, who had cursed him. And King David is telling King Solomon that this is all part and parcel. This is all what makes your kingdom and any other kingdom afterwards, and the system, an entire system that the Jewish people have to keep. Everything must be well balanced. Everything must be finely balanced, because you can have human intellect, but human intellect can sometimes be flawed and say, no, don't take vengeance. Don't put that person to death. No, if a person is deserving of death, they have to be put to death. Why? Because that helps maintain that balance. And now let's try to connect what Jacob, our forefather, was doing, giving his son's blessings right before he died, versus what King David was doing, charging King Solomon right before King David died. It seems that Jacob was blessing his children in order that there should be peace and harmony with all of them. They all bring out the best of each and every one of them. And King David was saying, hey, make sure you take vengeance for me. But the answer is, like we say in Ethics of Our Fathers, that on three things the world stands: ala emes, ala din, and on mishpat, right? I believe that's what it says. It says, ala emes, v'ala din, v'al ha. Where is it over here? Give me 1 second. Oh, it's at the end of the first chapter. It says, where is it? It's right over here. Three in the world: ala emes, v'ala din, v'ala shalom. Truth, din, and shalom. Din is judgment, and shalom is peace. That means you can only have peace if you have the two prerequisites of din, of emes, of truth, and judgment. Otherwise, there is no shalom. So really, that is the comparison between King David and King Jacob. That what Jacob was doing was to ensure that there would be peace. And what King David was doing was also ensuring that there would be peace. And that is keeping Torah. That is following in the ways of Hashem. When we follow the ways of Hashem, we cannot rely on human intellect only. We have to employ the great gift that Hashem gave us, that is the Torah, and like that, we can actually be complete. Thank you for listening. Have a wonderful Shabbos.